the most unflappable mogul in hip-hop, just blinked. In one Manhattan courtroom, the billion-dollar armor Sean Diddy Combs built over 3 decades cracked wide open. Jurors gasped, reporters froze, and the man who once told the world, "Can't stop, won't stop," suddenly looked like he couldn't breathe. What did Cassie say and show that turned music's ultimate kingmaker into a defendant fighting for his legacy and maybe his freedom? Stick around, because the next few minutes trace the meteoric rise, the whispered warnings, the midnight raids, and the second-day testimony that set the empire on fire. And the wildest part? We're only halfway through this story. Bad Boy Records began in a cramped New York office in 1993. By the early 2000s, it had morphed into a planet-sized brand orbiting around one charismatic center of gravity, Diddy. He micromanaged beats, squeezed chart toppers out of rookie rappers, then jumped lanes, Sean John Fashion, Ciroc Vodka, Revolt TV, a speculative billion-dollar net worth, jet black SUVs, Grammy nights, Hamptons white parties. The imagery never slipped, but perfect surfaces begged deeper questions, and those questions kept bouncing off his designer shades. Industry insiders whispered about tantrums that emptied studios and hotel suites that looked remodeled by rage. Yet, the magazine still crowned him hip-hop's Midas, because every rumor wilted under the heat of his stardom, until one former protege chose not to wilt. The first hairline cracks most fans missed. Summer 2010, Miami. A blurry phone clip surfaces. Cassie leaving a party with mascara-streaked eyes. It fizzles on gossip blogs. No mainstream pickup. Back then, she was the 23-year-old R&B hopeful who'd just signed a 10-album deal. And Diddy was the gatekeeper of her dreams. Friends later testified they saw sudden bruises, frantic 3 a.m. calls, last-minute canceled studio sessions, but nothing stuck. Fast forward to November 2023, Cassie files a $30 million civil suit describing a decade of control, violence, and the now infamous freak-offs. He settles in 24 hours for a reported $20 million. No admission of guilt. Case closed. Except closing the file opened a floodgate. Producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones sues in February 2024, alleging drugs, armed guards, and coerced acts at recording camps. More accusers line up, stretching into triple digits according to The Guardian. Diddy's lawyers swat each case like flies, but the swarm only grows, and then federal agents kick in 2 very expensive doors. March 25, 2024. Sunrise in Holmby Hills. Homeland Security vans block the cul-de-sac. Agents storm Diddy's Los Angeles mansion, and a mirrored raid hits his Miami compound minutes later. They carry out laptops, encrypted drives, dozens of phones, and reportedly over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Neighbors watch million-dollar artwork rolled past hibiscus hedges. TMZ helicopters hover. Social feeds explode. Is this real? Diddy issues a slick denial. No criminality here. See you in court. But prosecutors are already dissecting gigabytes of footage said to map a private nightlife straight out of Eyes Wide Shut. Meanwhile, corporate partners flinch. Diageo distances itself. Revolt TV announces his step-down, and analysts start subtracting zeros from that billionaire estimate. Raids make headlines. Indictments rewrite them. September 17, 2024, a 53-page indictment drops in the Southern District of New York. 5 federal counts: sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, coercion, kidnapping, obstruction. The charging phrase, criminal enterprise, echoes like a hammer in the hip-hop world. Prosecutors accuse Combs of using staff, security, even drivers to recruit and intimidate victims. He surrenders in a tailored suit, pleads not guilty, and watches the judge deny bail after witness tampering claims. For the first time, the man who sold invincibility gets measured for a prison jumpsuit. Overnight, Forbes drops him from its rich list. Finance blogs peg his fortune nearer $400 million than $1 billion. But a courtroom drama needs more than paperwork. It needs a star witness. May 13, 2025. Trial opens in Manhattan. Prosecutors call Diddy a maestro of exploitation. Defense brands Cassie a jilted ex chasing a payout. Jurors listen, but the tension spikes when court adjourns. Everyone knows she's up next. Day 2, 9 a.m. Cassie enters in a cocoa brown dress, 8 months pregnant, posture like steel. Reporters note Diddy's grin fading to stone. She spends the morning charting control tactics, tracking apps, career threats, a decade of isolation. Not a tear, just detail after detail. Then she defines freak off, voyeur sessions scripted by Diddy, escorts hired, phones confiscated. Gasps ripple through the gallery. Prosecutors flash a 2016 hotel video where a man resembling Combs hurls her down a corridor. Defense cries, jealousy not trafficking. Judge overrules. And she hasn't shown the receipts yet. Mid-afternoon. Cassie lifts an old iPhone from an evidence bag. A projector blinks alive. Texts from platinum artists. You okay? What I saw tonight wasn't right. A pop megastar. I've never seen him act like that with anyone else. Then Diddy's own midnight apologies. You know how I get when I drink. Another offers hush money. $2 million. Clean break. No talk. Jurors scribble. One mouths. Wow. Defense objects. Hearsay. Prejudicial. Judge calls the messages highly probative and lets them roll. Cassie's calm contrasts Diddy's twitching hands. He taps frantic notes to lawyers who can't stem the evidence flood. But the real meltdown is seconds away. Cassie plays an audio clip, a male voice threatening to ruin your family if secrets spill. Diddy leaps up, shouts, "You know that's not how it happened!" 3 attorneys yank him back. Judge Subramanian slams the gavel, threatens removal. The gallery sits frozen. That billionaire aura evaporates in real time. Reporters tweet the transformation. The man who once orchestrated Super Bowl ads, now reduced to head and hands disbelief. By recess, half his entourage has slipped out a side door. Outside, protesters chant. Brands cut sponsorships live on CNBC tickers. Inside, jurors exchange looks that say, "We just watched the mask fall." Empire damage might still be repairable, unless the aftershocks keep rumbling. Within 48 hours, Kirok Marketing pauses all Diddy ads. Revolt confirms complete ownership transfer. Streaming services slide bad boy playlists off front pages. Analysts estimate his liquid assets have dropped below the $400 million mark and sinking. Civil suits stack up. Prosecutors hint at superseding charges if new victims testify. Legal experts say a conviction on the racketeering count alone could mean 30 years to life. And the jury has already watched the mogul self-destruct in open court. Yet hip-hop's history is dotted with improbable comebacks. Could Diddy reinvent himself again? Or is this scandal too radioactive? Even his one-time allies are silent, waiting to see which way the verdict blows. And speaking of verdicts, 3 decades ago, Sean Combs taught the music world a mantra: work harder, shine brighter, never crack. This week, in one silent courtroom, cracking became unavoidable. Cassie's steady voice ripped open the gap between the public myth and the private allegations. Digital receipts widened it. Diddy's own outburst confirmed it. Now 12 strangers hold his future, and every new witness could tip the balance. Whether he walks free or leaves in cuffs, the legacy he spent a lifetime curating will never look the same. Because once the mask slips, the world doesn't forget the face underneath. So, here's the question I'll leave you with. Is this the final act of hip-hop's richest king, or just the darkest verse in a story that still refuses to end? Drop your thoughts below, and if new twists surface, you know we'll be right here, breaking them down.